a chains on us, hands to waist, legs connected. It was very scary because they chained my chest super tight and I couldn't breathe properly. I was really scared because I thought I'm not going to be able to breathe.
Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today we bring you heartbreaking breaking news out of South Florida that is shaking the nation. A 44-year-old Haitian woman has tragically died while in ICE custody at a detention facility in Pompano Beach. The official cause of death still under investigation, but reports from multiple sources reveal she complained of chest pains and was told simply to lie down and never got back up. This isn't an isolated story, it is a part of a much bigger, much darker reality unfolding inside U.S. immigration detention centers, from overcrowded, inhuman conditions to reports of women chained, starved and denied medical care. These are human rights violations hiding in plain sight. In today's video, you will hear from people across the country reacting to this devastating event and speaking out against the treatment of immigrants in ICE custody. These voices are raw, emotional and powerful, and they demand to be heard. So tune in, and if this information moves you, share it, speak up and take action. Now let's get into this reaction.
We have some terrible breaking news right now. A Haitian woman has died in ICE custody. A 44-year-old Haitian woman, Marie-Ange Blasé, has died in ICE custody in South Florida in Pompano Beach. Now, according to the official ICE statement, the cause of death is unknown, is under investigation. But according to some sources like The Independent, she had complained of chest pain, lie down, and the next thing she knew, she was dead. It's a very terrible story. She had been in ICE custody for about 2 months when she was first arrested for being in the country undocumented. Now, I know a lot of you get your news from me, so I wanted to share some place where I get some of my news and where I found this story. It's called Ground News, and it shows left-leaning sources, right-leaning sources, and center sources. In this case, you had 10 left-leaning sources, 2 right-leaning sources, and 9 center-leaning sources cover this story. You can see the difference. I mean, for example, this is from The Independent. Haitian woman complaining of chest pain and told to lie down dies at ICE facility. And this is the right-wing source, just Haitian woman dies in ICE custody in Florida. This is a terrible, terrible story, and they're investigating further what exactly happened. I will let you know as soon as I hear more information. If you want to see what I just showed you on Ground News, go to the link in my bio and check it out. It's a great source as well. And as always, follow along for all the news you need to know about.
This just cannot be so. Did a Haitian woman not alive under ICE in custody with no warning? Her name, Marie-Ange Blasé. She was only 44 years old. She was unalived at Broward Transition Center in Florida. ICE says she entered the U.S. without legal authorization, then detained in Puerto Rico and then transferred to Louisiana. Allegedly, weeks later, she ended up in Florida. According to medical, she had complete medical access, allegedly. How many more unalive before the system change? Make sure you drop your thoughts in the chat so we can talk about this.
So today we found out, unfortunately, a Haitian woman died in ICE custody. I want to give you guys some information. If you have immigrant loved ones, if you guys suspect that they can be in detention, or how you guys can track them if, God forbid, they were to be detained. ICE isn't fully transparent with the locations where they're transporting immigrants to. Oftentimes they can just arrest them and not communicate that to the family, and this is very normal. And sometimes they can have them in one facility and move them without you even knowing. So it's really important for you guys to take heed to this information I'm about to give you. You're going to need their alien number, which is located on their work permit. It's also their USCIS number. I believe it's 9 digits with 2 hyphens. You're going to need their full name and their birthday. Then you're going to go on icelocator.gov, their detainee lookup system. You put their information in and you can see where they're currently being held or where they were moved to. The automatic case info, you can research that with the same details, birthday, alien number, full name. You can get an update on their case if there are removal proceedings and things like that of that sort. If you have a family member that was detained by ICE, or you're afraid if they can be detained by ICE and they have a date to see an asylum judge, you can also use that vital information. I believe with that website, they'll give the judge's name and the date when they're supposed to see the judge. And I think that this is important for us to know because oftentimes we kind of put this responsibility in the hands of immigrants. But if we were born here in this country, we understand the system a bit better. It helps us in advocating for them and holding facilities that they can be detained at accountable to make sure they're being treated fairly and to advocate further for them. Make sure that you have a copy of their documents. Someone in the family is a designated person, so you know how to advocate for them if they're eligible for release and to defend their case.
Breaking news. Women in ICE custody say they were treated worse than animals.
With like a chains on us, hands to weight, legs connected. It was very scary because they chained my chest super tight and I couldn't breathe properly. I was really scared because I thought I'm not going to be able to breathe.
They were chained, denied food and water, and told to urinate on themselves, and packed into cages like animals. This is not fiction. This is ICE, and this is happening under Trump's immigration crackdown. 4 immigrant women were detained at the Crome Detention Center in Miami, a facility meant for men. They had no criminal history. They were handcuffed across the chest, waist, and wrists, held on buses for up to 12 hours with no toilet, no food, and no water. They were told to pee on the floor while guards looked the other way. Some women passed out, and they described it as hell on earth. Inside Crome, women were packed 27 to a room, sleeping on concrete floors, no privacy, no shower for days. One woman said that she wasn't fed for 36 hours. These women had to beg for water. They had to pretend to have a seizure just to get the guards' attention. This is part of Trump's plan to expand ICE, reopen detention centers, and lower standards for how immigrants are treated. Crome is overflowing, and at this facility they are holding at least 4,000, but their capacity level is only for 500. And ICE in general is holding over 46,000 people. And that is thousands over their capacity. And Congress just gave ICE $430 million more to do this. This is what our tax dollars are funding. These women deserve justice, and so do the men. ICE is not about safety. It's about cruelty, control, and profit. I have 2 other videos that I will link below on this Crome Detention Center topic. Speak up, share stories, demand change. This isn't just about immigration. This is about human rights. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, free Palestine and abolish ICE.
So a Haitian woman has died in ICE custody in Florida. She was only 44 years old. She complained about chest pains. She was told to lie down. And then she passed away. They didn't give her any health care. They didn't try to help her. They just told her to lie down. If you got chest pains, lie down. There's really there's really no other information on this story except for what happened. This is coming from both sides of news media. They just let her lay down and pass away. And nobody's saying anything. This is the healthcare in the ICE system.
It's hard to overstate how tragic and infuriating this story is. A 44-year-old Haitian woman, Marie-Ange Blasé, has died in ICE custody in Pompano Beach, Florida. She was detained for allegedly being undocumented and had been in U.S. custody for 2 months. According to ICE, the cause of death is unknown and still under investigation. But according to the Independent and other sources, she reported chest pain, lay down and died shortly after without any apparent attempt at medical intervention. Let that sink in. This isn't just about one woman. This is a glaring reflection of a system that treats human lives, especially black and brown immigrants' lives, as disposable. The fact that someone can complain of chest pain, a symptom that should always be taken serious, especially in detention environment, and receive no care, that is medical neglect, plain and simple. And this time it was fatal. Let's call it what it is. If someone collapsed in public setting, an airport, a grocery store, even a sidewalk, bystanders would call 911, CPR would be administered, EMS would arrive, But in ICE custody, the people who are supposed to be in charge, who are paid by our tax dollars, ignored her pen, told her to lie down, then let her die. This is not just a procedural failure, this is a moral one. When you deny someone care, when you treat their suffering like an inconvenience instead of an emergency, you are not protecting the public, you are committing violence. And here is what makes it worse. This is not an isolated incident. We have heard from some women detained in ICE facilities who said they were treated worse than animals, literally chained across the chest so tightly they could barely breathe, transported on buses for up to 12 hours without food, no water, no bedrooms, told to urinate on the floor. Some passed out, some begged for water, some had to fake seizure just to get attention from guards. This is happening right now in the United States of America. One facility mentioned, Crome Detention Center in Miami, is reportedly holding 4,000 people in a space designed for only 500. Do the math, that is 8 times the capacity. That is not just overcrowded, that is a human rights crisis. There are reports of 27 women packed into one room, sleeping on concrete floors, no shovel for days, no privacy, no dignity. These women aren't criminals. Many of them have no criminal history. They came here seeking safety, opportunity, and a better life. And instead, they are locked in cages, shackled, and ignored when they cry out for help. Marie-Ange Blasé wasn't just a detainee. She was a human being, someone's daughter, maybe someone's mother, sister, friend. She deserved care, she deserved humanity, but instead she got silence, she got indifference, and she lost her life. Let's talk about ICE for a second. What it become and what it represents. ICE is not a natural agency. It was born out of fear, expanded under the guise of national security, and weaponized as a tool for control. It's not keeping people safe, it's criminalizing poverty, depression, and immigration. And let's be clear, this is a bipartisan. It's not just one administration. ICE expansion funding and authority have grown under both Democrats and Republicans. In fact, Congress just approved $430 million more to fund ICE detention. Think about that. In the middle of a national conversation about immigration reform, human rights and justice, we are giving them more money. Where is the money going? To medical staff? Clearly not. To food and hygiene supplies? Evidently not. It's going into expanding facilities, hiring more officers, and detaining more people who haven't committed any crimes. It's going into systemic abuse and cover-ups. And when people die, like Marie-Ange Blasé, the response is always the same. We are investigating, but these investigations rarely lead to accountability. Nobody resigns, nobody charged. The system simply moves on. And families are left with no answer, no closure. ICE doesn't even always notify families when their loved ones are detained, transferred, or God forbid dead. That is why it's so critical for people who with undocumented loved ones to know their rights and how to navigate this system. You need their A number, that is their airline registration number, usually on a work permit or immigration document. You need their full name and date of birth, and then you go to the ICE detainee locator websites, icelocator.gov. You can find out where they are, if they have been moved, or if they are in removal proceedings. It's not perfect, but it starts. That information could be the difference between finding someone or losing them to the government system. It's also important to designate a family advocate, someone who holds copies of all immigration-related documents, someone who knows the process and can follow up on court dates, filing deadlines, and detention center communication, because ICE is not transparent. They move people without notice, they hold hearings without notifying families, and in tragic cases like Marie-Ange, they let people die without intervention. And while we are on the topic of justice, let's remember, justice is not just about what happens in courtroom. Justice is about how we treat people when no one's watching. It's about what happens in the shadows of our institutions, inside jails, detention centers, and facilities like Rome. That is where the truth lives, and the truth is ugly. Its cages, its starvation, its abuse, its death, and it's funded by us. We must stop pretending this is normal. We must stop calling this immigration policy when it's really incarceration policy. Its security marks as control. Marie-Ange Blasé should be alive, she should be free, and at the very least she should have access to medical care when she said, "I'm in pain." This story isn't over because her name deserves to be remembered, her story deserves to be told, and her death should be the last, not just another headline. So what do? We speak out, we share these stories, we support immigrant justice organizations, we call out representatives and demand accountability. We say her name, we hold ICE accountable, and we stop accepting systems that profit off suffering. Because immigration isn't a threat, it's a reality, and human rights are not optional, they are universal. If you are still watching, thank you for caring, thank you for being informed, and thank you for using your voice. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown of the news that matters. Until next time, stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay human.